Hey guys, so here on Saturday morning with Attorney Kevin Chiu. So we were talking about how to hold title, right? The most common questions, Kevin, in the last 12 months, we helped over 350 families with their real estate needs. And the most common question they ask is how to hold title on my primary home.
Yeah, absolutely. So most people, when they're purchasing property, they have no idea of all the options that are involved in terms of holding title. And I always recommend the absolute best way to hold title to any real estate is by using a living trust. Living trust will protect the property against anything that could happen in the future. That could be death or incapacity or any type of illness. And anytime you're purchasing property, you should really examine what your options are. And you should take a look at who you're buying the property with. Because, for example, if you're buying property as husband and wife, a husband and wife as a married couple would have more options than just any two other people. So for example, a husband and wife can hold title as community property, whereas other people would only be able to use joint tenancy or tenants in common. But still, again, the absolute best way to hold title is by using a living trust.
I like the fact that you touch about the living trust. There is a misconception. Most people think a living trust is an asset protection, right? So we want to make sure we clarify that. Oh, by the way, we're gonna Attorney Kevin Chiu is going to be hosting a seminar in our Investors Club next Tuesday evening, so make sure you check out the calendars. But let's go back to the idea of this myth that living trust is an asset protection. So we want to clarify that because I don't want people to think, hey, I own my house in ABC Family Trust, thinking that nobody can sue me or they're going to be bulletproof.
Yeah, that's right. So that is one of the biggest myths about living trusts. Living trusts are not for asset protection. Living trusts are to protect the property against probate, which is a court procedure that would happen if an owner on the property either passed away or became incapacitated or just simply not able to manage the property anymore. If you think about it, the asset protection is almost impossible. If it were possible, everyone would just go around setting up a living trust and putting their real estate properties into the trust. And then when they're out and about driving around Los Angeles, everyone would just drive like a crazy person and not worry about any type of liability. So that's definitely not something that we would want. Even you, if you were hit by somebody in a car accident, you don't want that person to say, oh, Rudy, I'm sorry, I have a living trust. You're not able to sue me because this is an asset protection.
Right.
That's just not good public policy.
And that's one of the biggest tips here. So the purpose of a living trust, you said, is to avoid probate. That's it. That's the only one purpose of setting up a living trust, which is huge. Because can we touch a little bit about the consequence of not setting it up as a living trust, which means when I pass away, then my families have to go to probate. Can you touch a little bit about what's the consequence for my family if it were to go to probate?
Absolutely. So probate is a court proceeding. Anytime you have anything that deals with court, number one, it takes a lot of time. So for probate cases in LA Superior Court, it usually takes 1.5 to 2 years time. Number two, you end up incurring a lot of costs and expenses. You pay attorney fees, you pay court costs, fees to the government. And probably the worst part about it is that during this 1.5 to 2 years time period, the property is considered frozen. It's stuck. So Rudy, you know, being in real estate, you've come across a lot of probate sales. And you know that oftentimes a probate sale is 10 times more complicated than a regular sale because everything has to be supervised by the court. The judge has to approve on everything. And as the family, if your loved one passed away, sometimes you can't wait 1.5 years before you can access the money or access the property. You need access to it right away. So it's very, very inconvenient and could leave your family in a very difficult situation. So if you have a family, especially if you have young kids, it's especially important for you to set up a living trust.
So probate is very long, like you said, and it's very public and it's very costly. So to avoid that, then all we need to do is just setting up as a living trust. Good. So if you want to learn more about how to hold title to protect ourselves, the biggest asset most likely in your life, make sure you sign up for our next Investors Club. You've been here before, and we're going to invite him to come again on Tuesday from 7 to 9.